Let's talk a bit more about this process. We keep explaining how important process is throughout this process now. What happens inside Parliament. Indicative votes is the phrase that has been attached to what is going to be happening. It basically means MPs being allowed to vote on a series of options designed to test the will of Parliament to see what, if anything, commands a majority. Well, we can talk through that process now with Owen, the Associate Director, working on the Brexit programme at the Institute for Government. So MPs effectively have control for one day at the moment, but is that just the start of it?
Well, exactly. We still don't know how this process will play out, what they will want to do with that one day, and whether one day will be enough. So some of the ideas we started to hear floated last night during the debate was that tomorrow could be used as a sort of qualifying round, if you like, for MPs to lay out all of the different options and understand where support lies before whittling that down and potentially having a sort of more formalised runoff early next week.
Who really holds the power at the moment, though? Because the MPs can do that tomorrow, they can have their votes. The Prime Minister doesn't have to actually see it through. Could the MPs go for other mechanisms to force the Prime Minister?
Well, precisely. So after Monday, or even tomorrow, if a clear consensus arrives, they could start to force the government's hand with legislation. Now, in some respects, it's kind of quite right that Theresa May is reserving her right to implement the will of Parliament, because we don't know. MPs could vote on something that they know is not negotiable with the EU. So just because MPs, if they said we would be happy with, for example, a customs union where we get a say in European trade deals, now the government will know that that's not going to be negotiable with the EU. So, you know, you cannot then ask the government to go and implement that when it's not possible to. So in some respects, it's right that the government is standing back and saying that we cannot just blindly accept what comes out of Parliament. But if there is one of these off-the-shelf models that we know that the EU has looked at, if there's that famous Michel Barnier steps chart and it features on there, then it might be much harder for the government to resist the will of Parliament.
We're in uncharted territory. How much does this change the way our democracy operates and the understanding of the way our democracy operates?
Well, so this is about minority government, and it's not uncommon for backbenchers to decide business. There are certain days allotted throughout the timetable that allows backbenchers to do that, but what is different is that they are taking control of a day where it is up to the government to schedule business. And what that means, if we are in a situation where there are future minority governments, you know, does this burst the dam, basically, and this becomes a much more common occurrence? We don't know. It will always, as always, depend on parliamentary arithmetic.
Joan, thank you very much.